Part 4 of my 4th of July 2023 fireworks show setup, and today we're going to finish the last two single shot positions, label and poke all of our cakes. I have some interesting news. So 2 parts ago I was worried about fire risk because of a burn ban, and then today magically we had some tornadic storms roll through, creating high wind, so much so that I lost my fence and my gazebo and had water in my workshop. Luckily no fireworks were damaged. The problem right now is it actually created so much damage in the surrounding area with like power outages and phone lines and stuff down blocking roads that might now cause my show to get postponed. So I'm gonna proceed as if we're still doing the show, but it may get postponed a week. So we're gonna go ahead and poke the 200-gram cakes first, and I think I am gonna use igniter clips for the Saturn missiles and just clip on the fuse. So I was a little nervous about the thickness of the fuse here. So I cut a piece off. We're gonna go outside, attach a igniter clip to it and see if it burns. Okay, good old 9-volt test. Okay, that worked. Okay, time to do the Crossettes. So it says E port here. It feels like something's right there, but doesn't quite feel like a port. So I'm wondering if there's quick match or something in there. Oh, yeah. I think I see quick match. There it is. Yep. Now the only downfall here is it doesn't have a port on it. That actually looks large enough that I could fit my MJGs with the shroud on it in there. I want to take a second to show you some brass awls and why they're important. So this is a common 3mm brass awl. It's not super helpful for me for what I normally use them for, but I do have it in my collection. This is the one I use all the time. This is the one that's linked in the description of my video, and I highly recommend it. The brass part is about 6mm in diameter, so it's thick enough when you're poking a hole into a cake that you can put your E-match or your fire initiator in with the shroud on, which is what you want to do. So that's why I like this poke. When you're doing 200-gram cakes such as this one, this poke can actually be a lot better. So this is a pimp stick from Easy Pyro. I'll put information in the description of the video. When you look at the tips of these pokes, you'll see this one is much longer and tapered, and this one is shorter and fatter. And when you're doing these 200-gram cakes, for example, to get into the cake to the point here where it's large enough for my shroud, you see I'm almost poking through the cake. So when you're doing a small bore cake, this can go right into the next charge. Where this guy here is shorter and fatter, so I don't have to go in as far to get the diameter of hole I want. There's also a couple of benefits to it, like these notches that's supposed to help you from poking through the cake. I cut the top off of this cake, and I swear to God, it smells like barbecue. Like liquid smoke or something like that. That's what it smells like inside. It must be some adhesive or something that's in there. So I see this question come up all the time, and that is, should I cut the tops off my cakes? Why or why not? And the only reason I do this is just for debris. So I'm shooting on someone else's property, and I clean up all the debris. So by removing the tops, it's just less stuff I have to clean up in the field. Some people make the argument of don't cut the top off, because when you're looking at your fireworks, you can see what has fired and what hasn't fired. In my opinion, if you're hand lighting, I absolutely agree with that, because if you think about going back and forth between cakes and hand lighting a bunch of stuff, if I see this cake here and this cake here, I can see that one has not been lit, that one has. So I don't want to approach that one, I want to go to that one. You know what I mean? So that way it's just an easy visual indicator, especially if you have some type of light or flare, that you can see this one hasn't been lit. So some other tips and tricks: cake lights here, you know, it zigzags. This is the last shot. They'll cut a little notch here, so that way that shot is covered, so they can see if the last shot goes. Normally what I look for after a show is the black residue within the tubes. So from this angle, from the angle we're looking at from the camera, you can see black rings in all the tubes if they've lit. I always give myself a cool down before I approach them anyway. Then once I do, I have my water cannon, flashlight, and I just do a scan of everything. Something I want to point out, so you'll see right here, if I pull on the fuse just a little bit, you'll see the black powder lift charge there that is starting to come to the outside. So basically, if I pulled really hard, the fuse would come out. However, so would some of the lift. So I'm not going to remove the fuse in this case, and it's okay if you don't. I could totally put my firework initiator in here and just tape the fuse there, and it'd be perfectly fine. Ordered those metal racks last minute. This was the only supplier that could get them to me in time. It's pretty cool. They fold flat like this. Mother. Alright, so these are 18-shot racks, as you can see. I'm super glad I got these in on time, but honestly, if anyone's looking for single-shot racks, I definitely recommend Craigco. These ones are made in China, and the quality is just not the same as what you see coming out of Craigco. Fun fact, I actually went to this factory in China. One things about these racks I always thought was good were these little friction hold pieces, but we'll see how well they work with the single shots we have. The amount of metal shards left behind all over this rack and rough edges is ridiculous. All right, we started to put the single shots into these racks, and these little spring-loaded friction hold things work really well, except for on the no debris comments and mines. Because of this square base and the fact these cups are angled, you can't put them into the corners. So I have to put some additional material there. But otherwise, these just kind of go right in. As always, make sure we're not stripping the wire, just like that. I'll kind of show you the angles that are on this. So you'll see they're in sets of 10s, they don't go down by 5, but you see the line here, how it follows up the side. So that's how you know that it's supposed to be at 40 degrees right there. Now I need to go to 45, so I'm going to be coming in a little bit more. So this is kind of a problem. Watch this. As you move the angle, it sits up on the cup rather than on the side rail. So watch. So when I hit my 45-degree angle, look. So it's putting all the weight on the cup there, not the side rail. It's a big design flaw. So in one of the other parts I was talking about unraveling this a little bit for more space to work with. I feel so dumb. You could just pull this down and there's your extra 2 inches I was talking about. So all the single shots are finally done here. I need to finish labeling cakes, and then tomorrow I'll probably do the waterfalls and mortar racks. So I actually really love flying fish effects, so that's why I got these color fish. They're quiet effects, they're more unique, and you can use them with loud stuff or by themselves with quiet stuff. Here's a really good example of the size comparison for pro use versus non-pro use. So this is a 36 shot gold strobe. They make this in the pro use only size profile. They were just out of stock at the time, so I got these ones. So all the new pro use smaller size cakes are in a 6-1 case packaging, right? So this one has space between the tubes and this one does not. This one is professional use only, so you have to have some type of Proline certificate to get it. This one anyone can purchase, which is why these have the quick match leader here, where these ones still have the fuse and the port that you have to cut into to find. So I love these new carbon fiber graphics from the Proline. To my understanding, all of the brown graphics are going to be transitioned to this in the future. If I was designing my own line, this is literally exactly what I would do. It'd be single effect style cakes in a nice wrapping, but nothing crazy, you know, for marketing or anything like that. So this case got a little dinged up. We're going to inspect the damage. It actually looks like it's a single shot that got banged. So that's actually impressively still together. It basically just collapsed those rows, but it's actually... That one's a little loose, but that one's actually like surprisingly attached. I am shocked based on the exterior damage. I thought this was gonna be jacked, but I might just put some tape on this guy, like basically tape these two together to stabilize this one a little bit. But this one's good. His angle's off a little bit, but that's okay. Lucky, lucky. It's a beautiful sight. So, 2-inch titanium willows, and these tubes are super loose. All 3 of these feel like, yeah, they're like not attached to the base. I cut a little section to the side here, and yep, check that out. So what I'm gonna do is just pump in some liquid nails underneath of that. Good as new. The last 4 cakes to label and poke. Elvis from Brothers. You know what's really funny? The graphic, the name, nothing about this cake was appealing to me except for the effect. Bursting with red, white, and blue pride. Rows of red, white, and blue mines alternating with rows of 3 quickened shots of blue tails to red and blue stars and silver glitter. Basically all red, white, and blue, including mines. And it's a fan, and it was a good price. So I have all 4 of these going off at the same time in the red, white, blue segment.